Hey YouTube, welcome to my bed. A little while ago I asked you guys on Instagram to send me some questions about my music career slash journey slash music, anything to do with music basically. So today I thought I'd chill in my bed and answer some of them for you. So get comfy, get cozy. I'ma yap to you and answer all these questions. So let's get straight into it. My first question that I have is, how did you get into production slash making beats? I've only been making beats for a little while now. I'd say like just over a year, 2026 right now. And I feel like I started making beats properly, consistently this time last year. I had made beats before then. So like I remember I put out a song time ago in 2020, my first ever song, and I made that beat, but it was horror. And I just followed some YouTube tutorial basically, and it was like how to make a trap beat 101, and I just copied the whole thing. So I don't know if that really counts. And obviously I then went to music college where we made the odd beat here and there. So I had made beats before then. I used GarageBand to record myself from a very young age, so I was kind of familiar with how GarageBand worked, and that's what I used to produce my first song. And then, yeah, when I started music college, that's when I bought Logic and was like, yeah, let me start to make beats. But I never really properly got into it until like last year. That's when I started making beats on live with you guys. And yeah, I just decided one day, like, I want to be completely self-sufficient if I need to be. I've had a lot of delays in my music career, and I was like, I would really benefit from knowing how to produce, how to mix, and how to master, and how to play more instruments myself. So that's one of my big goals for this year. Last year, I definitely got to a point where I'm like, okay, I can make a beat now and I can make a song from scratch. In fact, depending on when this video comes out, Closure, my next single, is a self-produced song that I made on live. So I'm happy that I can kind of say, yeah, I can make a song from scratch. I definitely have a long way to go, and I want to get a lot better at production, especially this year. It's in my New Year's resolutions. But yeah, I just always wanted to be able to be a girl who makes her own songs. I think that's just fire in itself. So that's why. And then the how is kind of just like, I had a bit of experience making beats in college, but not really much. Like I kind of only did it when it was homework. And then, yeah, I took it upon myself to learn properly. And that's what you see now, where I go live and make beats or like tease little songs here and there that are self-produced. So yeah. The next question is, where do you get writing inspiration from? So this question just depends really. I would have spoken about this at some point, because sometimes I just be making shit up. I'll be so honest. Depending on the song and depending on the vibe, it's either drawing something out of me that's real and it's just me speaking my truth on a song, or it's me chatting absolute rubbish just because it sounds fire. I feel like there is a middle ground where you can kind of create a story that's not necessarily true, but you're drawing from real experiences or drawing from real emotions. But yeah, I tend to get a lot of inspiration from experience, but I also sometimes just write songs about things I've never experienced just for the sake of making a fire song. Like that's a very real thing that artists do. And I love making songs that are strong conceptually. Sometimes the way real life works is not always going to fit into like an exact concept. So sometimes you just got to chat a little bit of rubbish, and I'm sure every artist does that. So yeah, the answer is a lot of different places, I guess. Don't believe everything you hear. Or maybe you should, who knows. I have another question that's asking about production. It just says, how did you learn music production / any tips? So yeah, like I said, I used Logic. I feel like Logic was just easy for me because I always used GarageBand. I have like an old SoundCloud of all these tunes that I used to write when I was younger, like 10, 11 years old. And I'd play piano and sing into GarageBand. That was just always what I was used to. It was free and it made sense to me at the time. So I got Logic, but that might not be what works for you. There's free trials of a lot of different softwares, so I'd recommend like trialing each one, watching tutorials. There's really sick people on YouTube that you can watch. I learned a lot from Ocean, and there's literally sometimes just like voiceless tutorials on how to make a tight beat and stuff. So we have so much at our fingertips now that I would really just recommend, if you really want to improve, there's tutorials absolutely everywhere. Like there's tutorials everywhere. There's someone who knows how to do everything. Another thing I want to say is that it's not as hard as you think. I feel like I was like, oh, like I don't know how to make beats, I don't know how to do this. But as soon as I started to just do it, it all started to make sense, you know? So I guess you also ask any tips. I would literally just say, just do it. The first beat you make is gonna be horror. The 10th beat you make is not gonna sound good either. But after the 20th, after the 30th, you might be like, okay, cool, I'm getting into it now. Because I know for sure that at least the first 20, 30 beats I made were probably nothing to write home about, if you know what I'm talking about. A lot of my advice in general when it comes to music is literally just do it. Stop yapping about it and just do it. Because things aren't gonna do themselves. And I think I was always like, oh, I'll get to it eventually. No, that's not how life works. Like, if I want to achieve something, I just need to switch my brain onto go mode and just do it. The minute you stop letting your doubt or any kind of fear hold you back, the minute it will all start to make sense. That's what happened to me anyway. Next question is, what's the song you're most proud of? In brackets, I'm guessing Bite the Bullet. Now, to be fair, I think Bite the Bullet is the song that I'm most proud of that's released. I love the visuals. I had such a clear vision of what I wanted it to look like, and it literally ate down. Thank you to everybody who is involved with that song, because yeah, and I am really proud of it. Like, as a release, it's felt like my best so far, and I feel the most proud because a lot of the ideas came from me. I mean, I wrote the song, it meant something to me. It was kind of me stating something bold, and yeah, all of the visuals, all of that idea came from in here, so I do feel very proud of that. But I think the song I'm most proud of is probably an unreleased song of mine. It's called Storytime. You're probably gonna hear it very soon, so I'll keep the rest to myself about that. Someone said, what's my favourite synth? Now, I don't know too much about synths, but what I do know is that I'm currently looking at getting a Micro Korg XL specifically for my Talkbox. I got my Talkbox last year. I figured out how to run it with a MIDI keyboard, but I can't record it. And I won't even bore you with the details as to why I can't record it, but maybe I will. With a Talkbox, you're recording what comes out of the tube. I don't really know how I thought a Talkbox worked, but it was actually a bit more complicated than I thought. You have the sound of the synth going directly into the Talkbox, and then out of the tube is the sound. So when you're recording a Talkbox, you actually just record it into a mic. You're recording what comes out in the room. So I found a way to make the Talkbox work. It's complicated and it's a little bit boring, I'll be honest, but I've realised that I can't use my Talkbox with MIDI and record at the same time, so I'm gonna get a synth specifically for my Talkbox, which is the Micro Korg XL, which I have learned to be the best one for a Talkbox, and that means that I can just have that set up all the time, so it should be easy to record. I don't know much about synths, I'll be so honest. I just know that that one is a fire one for the Talkbox, and that's what I'm gonna cop. So hopefully in the next couple months you'll see me banging out Talkbox a lot more, because I haven't been able to practice because I haven't had the means to do so, you know. Someone said, we know you've got bars. Who's your top 3 selected grime artists? Isn't that a throwback? For me, what's just come into my head would have to be Chip, Skepta. The thing is, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know a bunch about grime, but I did listen to a bunch of Skepta. But I also listened to a lot of JME, so I think I'll just have to say those top 3. Yeah, I think it would have to be those 3. Personally, who is a realistic collab you would want to get on a tune? I would love to collab with Ray. That might not sound realistic, but I don't know, I believe. I also really fuck with Pink Pantheress, and I don't think I talk about it that much. Someone else I don't talk about that much is Don Toliver, because I feel like in a lot of my interviews it's always SZA, Summer Walker, and I'm not gonna lie, they're huge inspirations to me, so they're the obvious answers. But Don Toliver I think is fire. Doja Cat I think is insane. Pink Pantheress, I think those, I would love to collab with those artists. That might sound unrealistic, but you don't know about me, you don't know. I'll get there. I just appreciate all of their music for very different reasons. Yeah, I feel like I always forget to talk about them because the Kehlani, Summer Walker, SZA, all of them are very like obvious in my brain because they're so big, but I listen to a lot of artists and I always forget to talk about like my other ones. I noticed that I listen to Don Toliver so much and I never talk about him at all. Like, I love Don Toliver's music. Someone said, what's one instrument you want to pick up but never have the time? Saxophone. Well, actually, the realistic answer would be guitar, but I've started to learn guitar now. And I think I've had a guitar in my room for so long, there's no way that I haven't had time to learn it. I've just been procrastinating it literally because it's hard and it hurts your fingers. But if we're talking about what I don't have the time for, it would be a sax, because that's a whole different instrument to learn. Like, I have a bit of experience playing guitar, I have experience playing keys. I've always thought the saxophone was so cool, but I've just never picked it up because it's just like, who's buying me a saxophone and who's putting that many hours in a week? I've got shit to do. Do you know what I mean? And it's like not really a priority for me right now. But I hope that at some point in my life I learn the saxophone, because I just think that is a beautiful, beautiful instrument. Next question is, do you do collaboration or just work alone? It's definitely a mix of both. Like I said, last year was all about me starting to feel like I could become self-sufficient, and 2026 is going to be another extension of that. I want to get to a point where I can just be like, I feel like making a song like this today, and I can sit by myself at home in my room and just from scratch make that song. I want to get it to a certain standard that's a bit better. So sometimes I work alone, and sometimes I'll write songs completely by myself. Other times I'm in sessions. I think I post a lot about me being in sessions with producers and songwriters and stuff. So you know what they say, collaboration is key. I do think sometimes I can write a song start to finish that I'm like, this is perfect, this is amazing, but I'm also very aware of the fact that my music would benefit from having writers there, you know? Like sometimes you need a hit, and that's what songwriters are there to do. Sometimes I don't have the hits up here, but I know that I need a hit, and that's when I shout the writers, you know what I mean? But yeah, collaboration in music is always going to be so beautiful and special, because it's just a shared creation of something that means a lot to you as a person. So as much as I want to get to a point where I can make fire music by myself and not rely on other people, I never want to stop working with other people and making music with other people, because I think that's what life's about. That's what it's all about. Someone said, do I have a vision board for 2026? Yes, I do. I am maybe a bit weird about sharing my goals in that way, just because they're personal to me, you know, and like there's some things on there that are like, that I just feel protective over, I guess. Also, I don't even know about all this evil eye business, but I'm like, let's just be on the safe side, you know. But I used a template on Notion this year. I did it last year too, to do a full like 2026 reset. I reflected on my 2025 and all my favorite moments and all my beautiful friends and all the music that I made and the trips that I took. I wrote a letter to myself, and then I did a vision board for 2026. And to be honest, it's just like about my fitness goals, my personal goals, and my music goals. I'm not going to sit here and tell you all my New Year's resolutions and tell you like what I see for myself in the future, but I do find vision boards really helpful, and I can't lie, I looked at my 2025 vision board from last year and was like, wow, I didn't even realise that I had just 95% of the stuff on there I ticked off, and I think it's a really good marker of how far you've come, and without even realising you will achieve like the majority of what's on there, because it's just so in your brain. Having some kind of proof of where you want to go is a great idea. So I would recommend having a vision board for sure, even if it's a short-term one. It doesn't have to be like where I want to be in life. You can just do like the next 6 months or the next year. You can do the next 5 years. I love vision boards, always vouch for vision boards. Even if you're like, oh, but I'm not into manifestation, which get a grip by the way, because you should be. Even if you're not too on the spiritual side of things, I just think when you use your logical brain, critical thinking skills, you just gotta go, I'm actively thinking about what I want and placing it onto something and looking at it repeatedly. Just by living and breathing and that happening, you're more likely to achieve what's on that board. You know what I mean? So yes, I do have a vision board for 2026, and I would recommend you have one too. Someone asked, an unexpected challenge, ? There has been many an unexpected challenge in this musical journey. Nothing is like sticking out other than like the obvious ones that I've spoken about on platforms before, and I'm not going to harp on about the same topics. But I think generally I expected the workload of music to look a bit different to what it looks like now. I made a video on TikTok about me growing up and expecting a different kind of working hard to what I have now. I thought I was gonna just get signed to a label when I moved to London, and then just have to like do a bunch of rehearsals and just get whipped up and made into a star basically. And what has happened is I started working in a cafe and doing music on the side, but then still having to put my whole pussy into doing music. So I think an unexpected challenge is just how much work you have to put into like the social media side of things and everything. That feels like a generic answer, but it's probably the most truthful one. If we're talking from when I was younger to now, I didn't expect the challenges of being an independent artist and having to like make things happen yourself. Like I didn't expect that at all. And I also think that I had a very unexpected challenge with signing a distro deal, and it kind of panning out a bit differently to what I thought it was going to be. I'll talk about that more at a later point if it's necessary. But yeah, someone said, when am I going on tour? Listen. How about we focus on headline show first? Because what are we talking about tour? I don't even know if I can sell 100 tickets, let alone 3,000. But hopefully tour is sooner than I think. I would love to go on tour. I do really enjoy performing. I want to get to a point where my shows feel more like full productions as opposed to just Sissy's gone here to perform. I'm hoping that 2026 has a lot more performances, and I would love to do a headline show this year, especially with the plans that I've got. It would just make a lot of sense. So hopefully you see me performing more. But in terms of tour, you gotta just wait on me for that one. Let's start with headline show. Let's start there. Someone else asked, how do you find balance with all the industry stuff, work, and still being young? Which is a very valid question. I would be lying if I said it was easy. I do think I struggle at times. It kind of goes like this, like there's peaks and troughs, shall I say. I am someone who is very motivated and very work focused, and I have very big dreams. That like high achieving side of me is hard to switch off, which can lead to burnout sometimes, which I wouldn't recommend. I think because I want music to happen for me so badly, in the past I've seen any downtime or any relaxing as like not good enough. I'm like, no, I need to do this and I need to do this. So I have a very active brain that wants to get a lot done, and I think people tell me a lot that I work hard, and I think I recognize that I do, but it's in my brain, it's like never enough. It's not going to be enough until it's happening for me, you know what I mean? So I do think I've struggled with the balance, and something that I want to work on moving forward, and I've said to myself, is just finding a balance, saying no to more things, realizing that I don't have to do everything, prioritizing myself and my health, doing what makes me feel good rather than what I think I should do, listening to myself a bit more in a more like practical sense. As a person, I'm very disorganized. I have to like force myself to be organized to stay organized, if that makes sense. So I will plan my week and I will look at my week like every day and be like, okay, what have I got to do tomorrow? I use Google Calendar just to like put in what I'm doing generally on the day. So like if I have a session, I'll put it in there. If I've got work, like I'll obviously have it in there. If I've got a photo shoot, big things like that are going to take a big chunk of my day. But for smaller tasks, I use Notion, and I have a weekly planner that will tell me like gym, stretch, make a beat, practice guitar. Like it will have on the days like what I need to do, or like list on Vinted, post parcels, all the little errands and stuff that I need to run. And I keep a to-do list. This is just making me realise how everywhere my brain is. But I have a to-do list on my notes of all the jarring like admin stuff that I need to do. Shouting this person, finalising this session, registering with a dentist is what I've got to do at the moment. And I have a list of that on my notes on my phone, because when I think of something, I just add it to that list. I'm not opening Notion, I'm not getting a notebook out, I'm just adding it to my notes. And then at the moment, what I've started to do is do like a Sunday reset, and I will plan my week on the Sunday, and then anything on that to-do list I'll spread out throughout the week. I'll plan my content. I'll plan like when I'm going to shoot content, what days I'm going to go to the gym, what makes the most sense to film different things. So I use a weekly planner that gets reset every week, obviously. And yeah, so in terms of staying organized, that's kind of how I handle it. And I guess I just make an effort to see my friends and my family and have downtime, because being too busy doesn't exist. Like I'm a very busy person. I work 3 days a week, and then on the other 4 I'm doing music and I'm making content, and it's easy to let that completely consume you. But I've done that before. I've done that for months, and then had a period of time where I'm like, oh, I don't know, I'm gonna lose my job, I can't do it anymore, and it's just not worth it. It's like, how about we don't work ourselves to the absolute bones and just like treat ourselves like a human being instead of a machine? I've definitely been very guilty of that before. I think if you have front of mind that there needs to be balance, then it's just gonna work out that way anyway. Like I said at the start, I would be lying if I said I found it easy to balance everything. There's some times where it's completely out of whack, and that's just part of life, isn't it? I think we're all just figuring it out as we go along, like what's the best way to structure our week. Like I still haven't really found a routine that works for me. And I'm like 22, nearly 23 years old, and I still don't really know what I'm doing over here. And I don't think you're really supposed to for a while. I think we're just kind of finding our way, and it's supposed to be about having fun. But yeah, the work life music balances, it's difficult and it's complicated. I would love to not have to work and for it to just be music and life, because I feel like they kind of go hand in hand for me anyway. I love music and I'm way happier doing that kind of work as opposed to a job for someone else, you know what I mean? Even though my job is great at the moment, find it a lot easier if it was just music work and life balance. But yeah, it is hard, and having to like eat well and go to the gym around that is hard, but it's just about, you just gotta try your best, you know. Life is supposed to go up and down, and that's okay as long as you're making time to enjoy life. You never have, like, you're never too busy to have some enjoyment in your life. You're not. Like, you might convince yourself that you are, but if you make time to see a friend, to flipping colour in. I got a colouring in book. I've started making a recipe book as well, where I like watercolour painted the dish and then written the recipe on the other side. Just making time for things like that, like separate from music and separate from work, that fulfill me. I just think that's important, because without that, life can just feel like, what am I doing next? What am I doing next? I just think it's important to not rush away our lives and get all het up in the this, that, other. But yeah, we're working on the balance. It's harder sometimes than others, if that makes sense. It's not all doom and gloom, but it's not all daisies and roses either, you know what I mean? Yeah, we're still here, we're still kicking. Okay, we got to the end of our questions actually. Thank you to anyone who asked the question, and if you have a question for me that I didn't answer in this video, just leave it as a comment down below. I'm gonna do more videos like this in this style. I'm gonna film another one coming up about my fitness stuff and like my gym journey and things like that. I already put up a story about asking you guys if you had any questions about that, so I'll do more videos like this on whatever you want to talk about basically. So yeah, drop me a little comment below if you have any questions, and let me know if you enjoyed this style of video too. It was quite fun for me to just yap in my bed, to be honest, so let me know, and have a lovely day. I'll see you soon.